on a fucking computer via the internet. No. Ladies and gents, this improv story is based on the idea man eats out-of-date biscuits like the story commences. There was a guy called Craig, and he could really have done with just a wee something. A bit of chocolate or something, you know, just that. You know, he actually had that. He actually had that in the cupboard, but that isn't what he was wanting. That's a bit too much. He was wanting a wee. He had a cup of tea, and he wanted a wee something. He looked in his cupboard, and there at the back of the cupboard, he was ready. He was just ready to leave it. He didn't notice it at first. He was just ready to go like, I've not got anything. I've not got anything. He's ready to just leave it. Oh dear. He's ready to just leave it. He's ready to shut the cupboard door. What? He's ready to just leave it. But then at just the last wee gap between the cupboard door and the surroundings, the frame, he saw it. He saw it. He opened the door up, back up, open, had a look, and there was a packet of rich tea biscuits. A drink's not wet without them, as the advert says. And he thought, that is exactly what I'm looking for. No chocolate digestives, no a Twix, but rich tea. That's exactly what I want. Just a wee something kind of dry to go with my cup of tea. That is it. So he pulled the biscuits out. It was partially covered when it was in the cupboard. It was partially covered when it was in the cupboard. And he could see one end of the pack and it looked like it hadn't been opened. But when he actually took them out, he saw, oh wait, the other end had been opened and it hadn't been like rolled up. So all the air had got in and all the stuff that makes things kind of go like rot a bit and things like that. No, you know, like imagine if somebody had been, you know, like imagine if you saw like some legs sticking out the bottom of a motor and you went, are you alright, John? And you grabbed the ankles and you pulled the person out and actually their body had been cut in half. It was like that. He went, oh good, a full packet of rich tea. Pulled it out. Half a pack. So he's like, oh for fuck's sake, they'll be out of date. He actually looked at the date. They were actually out of date. It wasn't just the fact they were opened, exposed to the air, but they actually were out of date. And I don't know if you know, but see, biscuits, they take a long time to go out of date. Like, real long. Like, worryingly long. Must have like plastic in it or something. But he looked at them and he thought they look alright. So he took one and he went like that. There was very mild resistance, like no crunch, but a very mild holding of it together. But generally speaking, it was kind of soft. It was like they were out of date. But he thought, you know what? I'm going to have them. It's not like I'm going to die or anything. So he sat down. He thought, because I dunked them in anyway. He liked dunking them in. Sometimes like just having the dry bit, but also like dunking it in. No, all the time. So he thought, it doesn't really matter. So he sat down, with his cup of tea and his rich tea. Now listen to this. Normally what happens with rich tea is that he used to, obviously, he had rich tea biscuits in the cupboard, so he was very familiar with how long he should hold them in for. Didn't know the exact seconds, you just get a feel for it. If you do it enough, there's no way to, the only way to learn is through experience. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want, but nothing beats actual experience, hands-on experience. So he kind of instinctively knew how long to put it in for. But everything, so he put the rich tea biscuit in, right, and went to pull it out, his cup of tea, whole fucking thing collapsed into the tea. Whole thing just went like that. He's like, what? Am I forgetting how long he put? Wait a minute. So he got that was half of the biscuit gone. So he turned it around and just held it by the wee pointy bit of the half moon, like that. Went to pull it out, it just fell in. All he had was that one wee bit. And he went like that, and that was a wee bit soft. And he didn't know, is that soft because it's out of date, or did a wee bit of the tea absorb through it? You know, like if you put a bit of paper in water to there, the water slowly comes up into it. You know how there's different art, there's different types of art that take advantage of that phenomenon. He didn't know if that was the tea coming up. Osmosis, capillary action, right? So he's like, wait a minute. He's like, wait. I know. It's because the biscuits are out of date and they're a bit softer than usual, and that's throwing the whole algorithm out of whack, out of wigger whack. The whole thing's fucked. So he's like, wait a minute. And he's like, I've lost it. He was like, I've fucking lost the plot here. He went to a neighbour. He went, John, can you come here for a wee minute? What is it, Craig? A wee bit busy, mate. These neighbours are a wee bit sick of each other. John was mainly sick of Craig. He used to like, alright, I'll come, what is it? Craig was a bit of a pain in the arse. He was the sort of person that went round to a neighbour's house to ask about this sort of scenario, to get help with this sort of situation. So he went like that. John, have you got any rich tea biscuits? I've got any what? Any what? Any rich tea biscuits? Any what? The thing is, John actually was doing that. He was that used to lying to Craig through the door. He didn't even open the door normally. He's that used to lying that he actually did that. As if pretending he's actually busy on a phone call when he went like, he had to go like that. He said, he thought, right, the game's up, I'll just have to do it. What is it, Craig? What is it? Right, I'll come through. He went through to Craig's flat. He went, what's going on here? What's the problem? What's the problem this time, Craig? This guy, man. What's that? Nothing. Try dunking that rich tea biscuit in the tea. What? You brought me through for this? My granddad's dying. But you said your granddad died. Oh, aye. I mean, my aye. Right. So what is it? What does he want me to do? Dunk a rich tea biscuit in that cup of tea and pull it out. Run about where you think it's soaked, but no softening it's going to drop in. So John went like that. That's fucking easy. Out the way. Just went like that. Right, he's fucking right in Craig's jaw. Out the way. I went like that. Dunked it in. Pulled it out. It was fucking perfect. Pulled it out in your upside down way. That you let the tea that had been soaked at the bottom. Well, the dunked bit then sort of soaked down into the dry bit. It's perfect. And John went like that. There you go. It's easy. Craig went, that's a fluke. That was a fluke. Do it again. Again? Do it again. John didn't want to do it again because he thought, what if it is a fluke and he's going to look like an arsehole? No. That's it. Go. Because you know it was a fluke. Craig, I've really had it up to here with you, mate. Go then. No, right. And John just bold as fuck with that. Biscuit in the tea. Fucking did it again. It was wet. So he didn't just go like that. There you go. You got to keep it in for a certain amount of time. Put it in, went like that. Soft. But didn't fall back into the teacup. And Craig went like that. It's just me then, right? It's just me. It's just me. And John walked out and went like that. I guess you're not a real man after all. Hey, Craig. Craig went to speak back like that. Couldn't say it. He was fucking that gutted. He went like that. And John shut the door. John shut the door to Craig's house. Craig didn't shut the fucking door. John shut the door. That's how much he just dominated him. It was horrible. Horrible. Craig moved out. Craig moved out. Don't know what happened to Craig. Craig's gone. But John, here's the thing with John. What Craig never knew, and here's the twist. See, John had never... See, when John got back to his house, he was like, what? John had never been able to do that. Anytime he used to date when he was a bit younger, people would accuse him of shiting out it because he wouldn't hold it in for long enough. So he would bring it out too soon. And they would go like, you're a shite bag. You got to hold it in for longer, shite bag. He'd always been like erred on the side of caution, like no putting in for too long. But because the out of date Biscuits had thrown the algorithm at a wiggery whack, it actually fucking lined up for him. Do you know what I mean? It actually worked. Because he was used to no putting it in for that for long enough. But because they were out of date Biscuits and were already a bit soft, it was actually the perfect amount of time. And he was thinking, he thought, I can fucking do this now. And he was ready to show some pals that came around for a dinner party. And he thought, don't. Because, yes, you did it twice, but you can actually fluke something twice. Just leave it. And you know what he did? He just left it. The moral of this story is, sometimes you just leave it. The end. Thin Limmy says 10 out of 1,000. Thank you very much. Huh? Oh, Zillas, thanks for the sub. Cameron and Jason, thanks for the subs. It was only 5 days. All the fact that we're celebrating